out, baby. It's the whacked out news. People breaking the law. Ha ha, fighting in the nude. Ha, drunk people pooping in the street. Ha ha, it's the whacked out news. Huh, so many people on meth. Ow!
Well, Casey Anthony is quite a polarizing figure. In fact, I'm not sure there's anybody on the other side. It's more people that are showing disdain. If you missed that whole trial that happened way back in the day, just outside of Orlando, you may not be aware that she is relocated. She's now in South Florida, and she has a new career that she's talking about here in this viral video about becoming a legal advocate.
Today is Saturday, March 1st, 2025. This is my first of probably many recordings on a series that I'm starting. I am a legal advocate. I am a researcher. I've been in the legal field since 2011. And in this capacity, I feel that it's necessary, if I'm going to continue to operate appropriately as a legal advocate, that I start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter. For those of you who don't know, my name is Casey Anthony. My daughter is Kaylee Anthony. My parents are George and Cindy Anthony. This is not about them. This is not in response to anything that they have said or done. That's not to say that I'm not going to respond at some point to some of the things that they have said and done. The whole point of this is for me to begin to reintroduce myself.
Okay, so I guess she's working on a glow up and trying to rehabilitate her image as a legal advocate. First client, her. So,
what are your thoughts?
I don't think there's anything that she could say or do that would rehabilitate her reputation.
I mean, the first comment I see in the chat room is, ew.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how the majority of people look at her.
I don't think it would take. So
I don't think it would either.
No, and if there's any good news about it, it has been a while. We're talking, what, 15 years at least?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Since the Casey Anthony trial, and that would be the only thing. But, you know, she keeps popping up, and then you got to kind of be like, wait, who's Casey Anthony? And then you got to explain it, and then people get angry all over again.
Well, she's definitely going to lean into it. I think you're going to see her on social media. I don't think she's going to be. It sounds like she's not going to be hiding.
Yeah, the other comments I'm getting, I can't say they're not as nice as ew. So we'll leave the comments at ew, and we'll go from there, because yes, what people are saying to me, I cannot say according to FCC guidelines on this radio station at this moment. Well, there's a man in Gainesville that allegedly drove his car into a BMW dealership after being denied a test drive.
Now, that is a move you would see in the movie Roadhouse.
Wow. So this dude, he goes in, wants to test drive an M4, but when they ran his credit, he bombed. And they're like, no, we're not even going to let you test drive this thing. It's a $110,000 car, and you couldn't do anything to pay for it if you wrecked it. So he got all upset and tried to grab the keys to the car and do his own test drive on his own terms. And they got the keys away from him, so he went out to his own junker, got in it, and drove through the showroom window.
Wow. That's a move.
He was arrested and faces grand theft and criminal mischief charges.
I wonder how long that gets you in prison for. At least 3 years?
Probably. Yeah, I mean, the grand theft's good, and then the damage. It depends upon how they want to rack up those charges.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna cost you. You're gonna lose some time. 2 passengers were arrested after trying to force their way onto a plane at Miami International Airport yesterday. I saw it on social media, and it looked kind of crazy and chaotic. The passengers, one man and one woman, were late to their flight to Mexico. They got into a fight with airport staff and then threw coffee into one of the workers' faces while trying to get on the plane. Some of the video that I saw on social media showed cops tackling the guy to the ground as they arrested him outside the gate. He was eventually hauled off to a cop car. A second video revealed the female passenger was grabbed by an officer and forced to sit down while the other cops arrested the man. So they separated her. She looked a little wobbly.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of thoughts that I have, and I don't know what they're doing. I haven't heard the story. One, I wonder if they were hanging at the bar too long. That's why she looked a little bit wobbly. Or two, I just saw today that there's this new TikTok challenge where you try to show up only 15 minutes before your flight and get through TSA and make it to your gate in time, and you document the whole thing on TikTok.
Sounds pretty annoying.
Yeah, it is. And they're like, oh, I just made it. And they're running in, the
14
last
minutes
second.
and 33 seconds.
Right. And so I'm wondering if they're doing that TikTok challenge because they looked of TikTok annoying age. So not really sure. Haven't heard their motivation as to what caused it. But yeah, just be aware that's happening as well. So you're going to see a lot of TikTokers running you over in the airports now trying to do this TikTok challenge.
How does that work? Can security tackle you if you are being...
Yeah, you're in an airport.
Yeah.
I would imagine if you're going to that, if they expect that you are doing something, then yeah, they do not play in airports.
See, that's just one of them trends. That really is a thing. I really am aging out of Earth.
It's just, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
Yeah. Well, and that's just the whole thing. Whenever you see people running in public, it creates a panic. And I don't know if you saw any of the viral videos coming out of the cheerleading competition that happened in downtown Dallas over the weekend.
I didn't see it.
It was crazy. People running out, and you're like, oh my gosh, is there a shooter? What's happening? I've seen the footage where the cheerleaders were actually on the stage, and then the music cuts, and they're trying to get them out, and then people running out. My wife told me one woman got trampled in the stampede and broke both her legs.
Ooh.
And all it was two jackasses got into a fist fight, and people started to panic. And I was wondering how it goes. I don't know where it got to the point, if it's just because people are trying to run away from the fight and then everybody's like, oh my gosh, it must be a shooter. Did somebody yell shooter? And my question is, it's illegal to yell fire in a theater. That's the whole big debate about free speech, and say, well, you're not allowed to do that. But what if you're in a situation like that and you yell shooter, and now people are panicked and they're stampeding out of an arena or theater and people are getting hurt? Now, you may argue, you could even say, well, I was in a movie theater, I smelled smoke, I thought there was a fire, so I'm only trying to help. And you may say the same thing. But if somebody were just being a jackass and said that, now there's a lot of chaos. I don't know if anybody would pinpoint them, but then would you be able to go back and arrest that person?
I would be more freaked out if someone said shooter than fire.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. It's almost like that's the new fire of the question of, if you were in a place, I could see somebody being funny, be like, and they just yell it to try to egg on the situation. So, I don't know. They say up to 30,000 cheerleaders and parents were in town for the event. So it was an amazing thing going on. No arrests have been announced so far. And I think they're trying to find out exactly who was injured and who these two guys were. And I'm wondering what kind of charges they're going to get.
That story is bananas.
Bananas. Left turkey, bounce.
That's all I know.
Wildlife officials in Lakeland are having a swan sale. Anybody in the market for a good swan?
I would love a swan.
Okay, got to get to Lakeland.
Okay.
Yeah, there's about 80 swans that they have on Lake Morton there, and it costs about $10,000 a year to feed and take care of them, and they're hoping to sell about 30 or 40 of the swans to make sure all the birds are properly taken care of.
I feel like birds aren't very snuggly. Is there any bird out there that likes to get down with the snuggles?
Yeah, I don't know. Swans, I don't think is it. In fact, I thought swans were mean.
Yeah, could you imagine trying to cuddle with a swan?
They said that the swans often fight over food and space. So, and now some of them are starting to wander into traffic and get hit. So they're trying to get rid of them, or at least some of them, to cut down on that. So you'll have to do a little bit of a background check, or at least explain what you're going to be doing with the swan before you're allowed to buy one. So if you're in the market for a swan, go to Lakeland. There's video of two window washers in New York City clinging to their rig as it's swinging wildly in the wind. It even crashed into the building and shattered one of the windows.
Oh, that freaks me out.
That would be my last day at work. First of all, I would never take that gig, but second of all, yeah. I'd be like, yeah, we're done here. There's a man in Pennsylvania who's being charged with sexual assault after offering customers free glasses at two different optical shops in exchange for sex.
Whoa. Look at those peepers.
How about that, huh? That's crazy.
So what were they doing? He was giving them free
like,
glasses?
I'll give you some free spectacles if you bang me.
I mean,
yeah. That's kind of crazy, huh?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And a cute little toddler was playing with a phone in Moore, Oklahoma. That is the home of Toby Keith. I know because I was there a couple weeks ago.
Oh, all
Drove
right.
through Moore. The toddler apparently accidentally dialed 911 and requested donuts. So the dispatcher humorously played along and asked about his mom. And then the next day, the police in Moore, Oklahoma, they surprised a boy with a donut delivery.
That's fun.
Yeah. So authorities remind parents to teach kids emergency phone usage and secure unused phones. It feels like that's just a rite of passage anymore. I remember when my twins called 911 while I was taking a nap and the cop showed up at my front door.
Oh, I call 911 accidental all the time. There's something with my iPhone where I press it,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden I'll hear a 911 dispatcher. Hello, sir. What is your emergency?
Hello, how may I help you?
Yeah, and it's coming out of my, pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do that often. I don't know what it is about kids. They absolutely love calling 911. So there you go. Here's a bit of how that conversation sounded on an Inside Edition report on the story.
It's a 911 emergency. A toddler accidentally dialed the number while playing with a phone.
Donuts. I want donuts.
I'm Barbie.
Are you going to share your donuts?
The dispatcher goes along with it and tries to find out what flavor donuts.
Can you tell me what kind of donuts you have? Do you have blueberry donuts?
She tries to get him to put Mom on the phone, but all she can get is...
Multi-cheese donut.
The next day, the little boy had a big surprise. At his front door was a special delivery made by officers with the Moore, Oklahoma Police Department.
How are you? Well, we brought you some donuts.
That's all you gotta do. Just have your kid call 911. There's a good chance cops will bring you donuts.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Rewarded baby.
Yeah, rewarding bad behavior. That's what we do.
This is how we do. It's the KBJ Show.